nice to see everybody in this strange time. So here we are, all in our different houses across the country, and we all wanted to talk to you a little bit about our virtual festival that you are hopefully going to be watching and enjoying over this weekend, when we should have all been in Folkestone. But we're all missing each other, aren't we? It's been strange.
It's a very strange times. We're missing playing concerts like crazy.
Yeah. So, Friday evening, what have we got? First of all, Mozart Hofmeister Quartet, K499. Oh, Robin, we've lost you.
I'm back.
Oh, you're there.
Just like that.
Brilliant.
The magic of Zoom. I came back. Mozart Hofmeister.
Mozart Hofmeister. I was just sort of watching this back, just thinking about how joyful this piece is and how it starts. So like, you don't really know what's going on, and we're all just playing in unison, and suddenly the joy of that second subject when you get to A major, just it's just this incredible release. And I've forgotten how much I love that piece.
It's a great piece, not played enough. I'll have to play it again.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Cara, Hannah?
Well, when I watched it, I was listening to it, and it reminded me of when I went to hear the Hagen Quartet play it. And like you said, it gave me so much pleasure to watch it. And I was feeling quite down that day. And I remember coming in, and Hannah had sent me the link to watch it. And I sat at my kitchen table and I watched all of it. And I just remember thinking how lucky we are to do what we do and to play to all these amazing people. And it just made me feel actually, it made me feel sad, but it also made me feel really inspired to go and practice the next day, which was really good. It kind of did everything for me, actually. Yeah, amazing.
I guess it kind of epitomizes the idea of the string quartet as a conversation.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a very happy conversation between four friends.
Yeah.
And one will continue.
Yeah, we hope so, definitely. It's one of my favourite, I was going to say one of my favourite Mozart slow movements, but maybe one of my favourite slow movements of all time. It's just, I remember, because we had a gap when we didn't play much Mozart, didn't we, over the years, and then coming back, this was one I just was so excited to play. And after that,
yeah, so I was going to say, it contrasts so well with the Grieg, because it's so fiery and massive and everything. It's like a huge explosion of, I remember the
passion.
the first time we learnt it. I think maybe one of the first times we played it was at that school. Was it Uppingham School?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we got to the end of the first page, and I thought, flipping out, we've got it just felt like the whole of the first movement, and it's just enormous and just so rewarding to play it. I love it.
I think the first movement of the Grieg is almost as long as the whole of the Haydn Lark Quartet, which is going to be later on in this festival program. It's crazy. It's just enormous, isn't it? My happy memory of playing this, or the most unusual memory, was on our cruise going up to the Arctic Circle and playing it just off the coast. I think we'd just left Leknes, and then we were playing Grieg near his birthplace, which was pretty special, wasn't it? Next
we have a few segments.
Oh yes, Sacconi
which
segment.
was a little special concert. What year did we do that? Don't know, it doesn't matter.
That was 2016, I think.
Right, it was all our favourite bits.
But that was nice for us, wasn't it? It was a bit like our kind of Desert Island Discs type thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've done a couple of concerts like that in the past where we've introduced different movements, and I think it's something that might be nice to do in the future as well. It always seems to go down well with audiences. So maybe when people watch it and they want to comment what it's like just to have separate movements as opposed to listening to a quartet in entirety, it's good to know, but it's nice for us to do. The next one is the early Saturday morning. This was your suggestion, Hannah, to play, for those who are up with the Larks, to play Haydn Lark.
Brilliant. It's like when we did the Sunrise Quartet with the Sunrise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I asked my dad this morning whether larks are up very early, and he said he's not completely sure. But anyway, I'm going to try in the next couple of days get up at about 6:30 and try and perform a little improvisation with some larks if I find any. So watch this.
Look out for that. Yeah, fantastic. So one of us has to be up at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. We need to decide who that is.
I'll be up anyway. So
Yeah.
you might as well do.
Right. And later on Saturday morning, we are going to be watching the Mozart Piano Quartet, and I won't talk about this because I wasn't playing in it, but I remember really, really enjoying listening to this performance. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Piece. Another G minor piece, and that was a special one for Mozart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was his sort of dark and ominous key.
I just love that Mozart writing. It just reminds me I love listen at the moment. I'm listening to loads of the Mozart piano concertos. Just there's something so amazing about that music and the sort of the lightness, but just how many notes are on the piano. And I love the way that Dan played it, and it was so lovely playing it with him. And actually, I played it at college. Did I play it once with you before, Robin? Before we were in the quartet?
Oh, it's a lot. I don't remember things now. It's too long ago.
And it was so lovely to come back to it and play it with Dan and Hannah. Yeah, it was great. And Robin, obviously.
And I think one of the things about the festival has been that's been really lovely for all of us is one for us to step out of the quartet, and we've played trios, duos, solos, concerti. You'll be hearing Robin playing John Woolrich later on, but also it gives us a chance to step back and listen to one another as well in a way that we don't usually, and that's been something that's been very lovely over the years, hasn't it? And I hope it continues. What's next?
Cara Casals.
Yeah, the Casals Song of the Birds. It's funny, I was just playing it in the studio while I was waiting for the beginning of this Zoom chat, because I listened to it and it's such I don't know, I just find it so evoking of just loads of different things, but it's actually a Catalan lullaby, and it's to do with the birth of Jesus. Like, so it's nature's response or something to so it's sort of quite religious and to do with Christmas. But I find it so peaceful and thoughtful, and I thought actually I might play it on Thursday for the NHS.
Very good.
Play on my front doorstep. It was so lovely playing it with Tom in the church, and yeah, gorgeous piece.
Sorry about that. Was that me?
Don't want any of those going off during the virtual festival concerts.
That might have been me.
Naughty. Phone's off.
It's not phone. It's my computer. I need to learn how to switch off the ping. Anyway, continue.
Spring Sonata.
Spring Sonata. Yes, so that was last year. So Tom, the wonderful Tom Poster, we got to all play with him. But in the afternoon, I played the Beethoven's Spring Sonata, and just watching it back and thinking about it. And I remember when we learnt it, talking a little bit about the fact that it's a bit of a confusing title, Spring Sonata, because although it opens, and we all know the opening of the Spring Sonata sounds just evocative of a lot of the weather we've been enjoying at the moment, there's so much darkness and Beethovenian sort of power and energy in that sonata. I think we're all taken by surprise when we listen to it, because it is not all just the bird song and green grass. There's real soul searching going on in that sonata, and what an amazing piece. Very, very lucky to play that. And after that, Hannah and Cara, it's a performance of you playing with Donald, right?
Oh yeah, the Witch of Leonachen. That was fun, wasn't it, Cara?
Yeah, it was great.
Is that the one where you sing?
Yes, don't tell them.
Oh no, that's a secret. We'll cut that out. That was a piece that we actually asked Donald to write, especially for the festival. And yeah, we loved it. I think, Cara, help me out.
Yeah, I mean, Donald just writes such amazing, these beautiful tunes, which are just so, oh, they're so sort of still and peaceful, aren't they? But just gorgeous writing and sort of quite, I mean, he's amazing to watch him play. If you get a chance, check out Donald Grant playing his fiddle music, 'cause it's so good. And I remember him once telling me about all these, like, all the little folky things, the dun, 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 like, it's such an amazing skill to have the way he plays it.
So Saturday evening, we're going to be enjoying the RCM orchestra. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this was from last year's festival. And it's funny, I think, well, there have been years when sadly we haven't been able to make the orchestral project work, but it always adds such an incredibly, it's always amazing when it does happen. And every year, people who've been to the festival often say, you know, could that orchestra get any better? It's just fantastic, and it really was. I think the level and the amount of work that all those students put in last year was just phenomenal, wasn't it? To put together that Bartok and the Mozart and the John Woolrich.
Mm.
And of course, the Woolrich we just rehearsed on the day, I think.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
they were terrific and without conductor. And the great thing about that, well, actually all the pieces that we play, but the Woolrich is 1 to a part. So I think it's 10 string players and the solo viola, but they've all got their own parts, so they all need to play with autonomy. And it was wonderful. And of course, for me, playing that piece was one of the pleasures of my life. Really, waited 10 years to do that. And what a happy coincidence that the year before that, John Woolrich chose to move to Folkestone.
Amazing.
So,
yeah.
Everything came together, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was so great playing the Bartok with them, because the thing about playing with the students is that they're just so excited to play this music because it's the first time for them. They've listened to it and they think it's amazing, and they're not sort of jaded or anything. They just want to go for it, and it's quite difficult because we've got like solo parts, and then some of them have to lead the section, and and I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Right.
Doesn't it feel? I was just thinking about playing Bartok and just the feeling that one has playing Bartok's music. There's just something so there's this sort of raw energy and this sort of organic feeling to playing Bartok, isn't there? That I remember from playing the quartets that we've played and listening to the music. It's just so exciting. Yeah, and then Sunday morning, our Russian theme, which was going to be the theme for this year's festival, and it's hard to believe, isn't it, that just how long is it? A couple of months ago, we were touring Russia, and in driving through Siberia, playing Russian music in the depths of Russia. Very strange how much the world has changed since then, isn't it? But I remember this performance that you did of the Tchaikovsky. In fact, it's just you, Hannah, isn't it? Because it was with Pierre and JP,
and
right?
JP, John Paul Eakins. It's such an epic piece, and I couldn't quite believe it when I watched it the other day, and actually just the first movement is 20 minutes. But anyway, it's incredible music and completely gets inside you, and it was a total pleasure playing it with Pierre and JP, both just brilliant musicians. So anyway, I just put the first movement just to have a taste of Russia, and it's just on a Sunday morning, so we don't want to overload you, as well as the Shostakovich. Who wants to speak about the Shostakovich?
Yeah, it was a long time. Someone just break a string.
Sorry, that was me.
Lucky we're not performing. It was about sort of, we've been playing in a quartet maybe 18 years before we programmed the 8th quartet for the first time. It took a long time, considering how often this 8th quartet was played. I think we waited a long time to play it, and it was quite amazing when we did. it is such an intense piece. I mean, Shostakovich is intense. All Shostakovich has an intensity, but just the subject matter of that music and just the power of playing it is quite overwhelming, I find. Kara, I mean, the cello solo at the end, just it kills me every time. This like something coming from the ashes. I mean, it is just I think the depths that he takes you as a musician and a listener, and then I think that moment, the cello solo in the last movement is it has hope, doesn't it? What an amazing piece.
Yeah.
In contrast,
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, sit back, enjoy some blissful slow movements.
Blissful slow movements, yeah. It was I'd been banging on about this Korngold quartet for years, hadn't I? Saying, "Oh, I love it so much," because I got to play it at the Wye Valley Festival probably 5 years more, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and have been boring everyone about how much I loved it ever since. And the slow movement is, well, I think Corngold is a total genius, and a lot of his music has been played and performed more and more now, so more people know just what extraordinary music it is. But the slow movement of this is just, it's really haunting, isn't it? And this third quartet, the slow, which you will see the slow movement, I should remember which film it comes from, but it is one of the bits of music that he used for one of his films when he was scoring music for Hollywood. So yeah, I adore that piece. And then also the Corngold Piano Quintet, totally bonkers piece with the wonderful Tom Poster.
When we first got the score for that, I remember opening my part and thinking, we didn't have very long to learn it. I remember opening the part and I thought, I'll listen to it and I'll just follow my part. I couldn't even do that. I literally could not do that. It was like learning a new language, and there was just like every single note had something written above it, and at least one thing, and I just found it impossible to get into it. And then as soon as I got into it, it was sort of mind-blowing. It's just such amazing music, but it's just everything thrown at you, isn't it? It's just amazing.
I remember just hearing the start of this movement, and it really has this kind of blissful quality, doesn't it? Sort of timeless, and very sort of chilled and spacious music. And this movement just builds in intensity like nothing else. I mean, he pushes it further than anyone really should. The climax, because the first time I learned this, I was playing the second violin part, and the hand of the second violin part, the climax of this movement, the second violin just explodes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
These just crazy fireworks. I mean, it's symphonic and ecstatic music, right? Just amazing. And then we've got the Beethoven slow movement.
Yeah, so from the Beethoven Storm Quintet, which is nicknamed Storm because of the stormy last movement, but the slow movement is not so stormy. It's got a couple of moments, but it's quite blissful.
Yeah.
Isn't it blissful?
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And of course, we're joined by Philip Jukes.
Exactly. It's amazing.
Ace viola player. And lots of guests. Tom, Phil, and then Murray comes along.
That's right. And as we all know, well, the Schubert Quintet, isn't it? It's the most often picked Desert Island Disc, the slow movement of the Schubert's two cello quintet. And I completely understand why. I mean, I was writing little notes about all these pieces, and then I didn't have anything to write about this because it's words don't do it justice. It's an absolute treasure, this movement, isn't it? And time stops in the middle. It really does stop, and it's amazing actually, as when we play music, those moments of silence when you're not doing anything are often the most powerful. And Schubert does it like no other in this slow movement. Right, Sunday. Jonathan Dove. Jonathan's Quartet Out of Time. We played a lot, haven't we? Unrecorded, but we've been really lucky to become a sort of close friend of Jonathan's, and we just love playing his music, don't we?
Yeah, we took it to Russia. They loved it in Russia, didn't they?
Yeah,
They did.
yeah, they did.
Really good.
It's an amazing piece. Just, I mean, it was just because of just the incredible contrast that goes through that quartet. I mean, it's not a particularly long piece, but there are so many different emotions and sort of voices going on in that quartet.
Yeah.
This is maybe a good time to mention that Jonathan's writing us a new piece, all for us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if plans don't, if the time scale stays the same, then premiere in November 2021 at Whitmore Hall.
That's right.
And more on that in due course.
For our 20th anniversary. Who could believe it? And then Cara and we got to play the Arts Duke trio, didn't we, with Alistair? And that follows on from the Jonathan Dove.
Yeah, I watched it the other day and burst into tears at the end of it. I don't know why, I just did. And it was so great playing with Alistair, having known him since college and playing with him all the time. It's just, yeah, it was brilliant.
Wasn't because I was out of tune
No.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I learned that piece at Prussia Cove, and I don't know whether we all have memories of pieces you learn at Prussia Cove, just because that's a really special place to make music, and we've all studied there at different times. But I really associate that and being able to see the Atlantic from the great room, and learning it and swimming in the sea. And there is something about the kind of elemental forces in that music, which it's nice being close to the Atlantic, because it's just it's such a powerful piece. And again, I keep talking about special slow movements, but that's another one. It's a killer. And Alistair we're so lucky, aren't we, to have had so many friends who we've grown up playing with, coming to the festival and playing the way they do. And Alistair is yet another one who's come back many times, and audience, and we love playing with him, and audiences love hearing him. Thanks, Alistair. And then the last thing, is that right? Is this the last piece?
Yeah.
Which is the first piece we ever played.
Yeah.
Back in 2001. Haydn 76 number 5. Oh, but the sun is setting on my... I'm getting blinded. Yes, come on. What have we got to say about 76.5?
Played it a lot.
We have played it a lot.
In lots of cavatina workshops. We can play it with our eyes closed. We know that.
It's got everyone who knows a bit about string quartets loves to talk about the slow movement of 76.5, don't they? Because because you go from D major to F sharp major. I can't remember how many sharps that's got. 6 or 7, isn't it? Lots. So the page is just covered in crosses at the beginning, and it gives the slow movement a really elevated feel. Very, very, very special movement. There's me banging on about slow movements again. But it's just such a great quartet, isn't it? Haydn at his best.
Yeah, I remember writing, I loved it when we first started. I remember when you had one of those old Nokia phones, I wrote the last movement as my ringtone. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. I had it as well.
Yeah.
You shared it with me.
Yeah.
But only for when the rest of the quartet rang me.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone else, it was something else. It was rather good.
Yeah.
Good fun.
It was the minuet and trio that the pupils from St Ainsworth's all kind of got really excited when we played it, because they recognised it from the school workshops, didn't they? When they came,
When they conduct, you mean?
The conductor came, yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, we're really lucky, haven't we, that we've been during the years at the festival. We've done a lot of education work, but particularly at St Ainsbury's School, and lots of, as you were saying, so many of the children and parents have come, which is very special for us. Love to have more young people at the concerts. But anyway,
we've also, just very quickly, we've toyed with the idea of ending a festival with a Haydn quartet before, and we've just never quite done it, because it's quite often nice to end with a piano quintet or something big. But actually, now that everything's a little bit different for this festival, we thought it might be quite nice to finish with our first ever piece and with the Haydn quartet.
So there we have it. We hope you enjoy it. We'll be around. If anyone wants to comment on the videos, we're going to be around. Sadly, not in person, but we will be back playing concerts as soon as we can. And thanks for watching, and stay in touch.
Thank you.